This is part of a parcel that was belonged to James Frank Fry. He married a woman named Barksdale, and her father gave this as part of, I guess, as a wedding present or what have you. You know, this encompassed, you know, hundreds of acres and went all the way down to Moores Creek, and I guess a lot of the Fry Spring neighborhood has been carved out of that. Right down here is what's left of the Fry Spring. There's kind of a basic shape to what I believe was a spring house. There's a round hole there, and that hole is carved in a big flat rock that's set down in the floor of this. Water would come up in here, run down. It's kind of a little settlement tank. You could get a dipper. It would run out here and go down that little sluice line. This could contain a milk jug or a corn squeezing jug or whatever you wanted to keep cold. The old Jefferson Park Hotel stood up there about where the Baptist church is. So I think what people used to do is they'd come here to take the waters. The card we have up on display in the lobby claims that it was good for a whole list of things that were, you know, sort of Victorian and Edwardian type catarrh and, you know, whatever they were suffering from back then, and this stuff was good for it.
My Uncle Russell, who was my mother's brother, built the Fry Springs building and the pool.
This was all built in 1921 when the original swimming pool up the hill was built. What they did, their pipeline was actually like a fire hose, just kind of an old canvas rubber type of hose that would take a lot of pressure. That thing ran up the hill, through the woods, through the cow patches or whatever was up there, to the pool and filled the pool.
The teenagers used to really enjoy the dark colored water at the springs because they were as good underwater for as long as they could hold their breath without being spotted by parents.
Oh yeah, there was a tower that had a low board and a mid board and a high board. I used to jump off the high board. I never could get up my nerve to dive off it. I just jumped.
It was covered with honeysuckle, which then meant it was also covered with honeybees. And sometimes you went off the top just to get away from the bees.
One of my concerns about this whole structure here is that it's just falling apart before our eyes. This thing's being torn apart. Right now, I'd have to say that the only thing holding this whole thing together is friction.
So Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and... Back when I was a kid, there was pretty much Fry Springs and Farmington. And, you know, so that leaves Fry Springs is about the only place to go for a lot of people.
This is John Hammond Moore's Jefferson's County. It was here that many Charlottesville residents saw their first moving pictures, at the outset projected upon a bedsheet in the open air.
They used to have bridge tournaments out there all the time. And my grandmother and great aunt and my mother would go out to these big duplicate bridge tournaments. Mr. Travis, who used to live down the street, was a very excellent bridge player.
And at one time there was a miniature golf course out there too.
Fry Springs became such a focal point of local life that one wag quipped, Charlottesville is divided into two parts, Charlottesville proper and Fry Springs improper.
It was more than just a swimming pool back then. It was a club, you know, they had the ballroom. And
it used to be that university organizations would have their dances out there.
There was a very popular band when I was in high school, a local band called the Detours. A fellow named Gary Bibb, who runs a flower shop here in town now, and his brother Tommy, and I can't remember who else was in the band. So it was a place for teens to go out and hang out and dance.
Had a number of things. I remember there was a blackout ball there one time during during the war.
During the 40s, this was, the young people's dance hall. And all of these rooms that are around the side now weren't there. The acoustics are very good. And the wood floor is very good. That's what swing dancers and most dancers would like to do, is dance. They like to dance on wood floor.
So this is what you would be looking at in the original old outdoor pavilion. You would sort of have the view in, and this is what you would see with the exposed beams and still the original wood floor. This is what the original cafe area looked like, and now you see this is how it looks at this point. These are the original Vulcan pizza ovens from when this was a full-service place. This is how you made the French fries. Also unusable at this point, but original big freezers. This was the room where they did all this sort of making all the publications for the club back in the 50s. Some original menus, original rolls of tickets, the Falcon Club Dance from 1976, another original, the wine menu. But one of the initial presses is back in the corner. The yellow paneling that you see over there, much of that we believe is from the original open air pavilion. So the buckets that you see around this, red buckets and the blue one and all these different spaces around here, a number of us crawl around up in this space to empty the buckets, which are capturing water that's leaking through the roof. And this is really the only means of keeping the building alive right now, until we can pull together money to do a full renovation and rehab.
I would never want to move any further than I am right now from Fry Springs Beach Club, because it's the biggest and the best pool in Central Virginia.
I like the children playing outside and having almost an old-fashioned childhood where they're digging in the dirt and finding bugs and picking wild raspberries and digging in the sand. And it seems like they're roaming a little bit free, but they're all within a fence. So
They have those big old oak trees, and you can sit out there and you can talk to your friends in the shade of the oak trees, but still keep an eye on the kids to make sure they aren't drowning themselves.
I don't understand why every single person who lives within a 2-mile radius of this pool isn't a member. I want this pool to be here for me as long as I'm here. It's just an amazing resource.
This is just something that's real important, not only to those of us who are aware of it and use it, but to the whole city.
We definitely have had people come in and get starry-eyed over the potential of the kitchen alone and what could be done. But it takes money to keep a big old building like that up. But the pool was renovated, and even if I have to keep rolling the mortgage over, I mean, it's not like I keep rolling it over on myself. I roll it over on the next generation of people with families. But it really will benefit at some point from having the mortgage paid.
Well, I'd like to see that dance floor busy as many nights on the weekend as possible, because it's a great room. The acoustics are good, and has a lot of memories for the old folks. Not so much for the young folks, but we can give them some memories if they come out. So it's our sentimental journey.
It's been a challenge to keep it going financially, but I think that there have always been members who feel so strongly about it that it's kept going. Definitely more than a pool.
It's my home away from home during the summer.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday